We are here at SRL 360, and I am joined here today by Lachlan Martin, Joshua Butterfield, and Tim James after a big week of SRL. Boys, what were your thoughts on this big week of upsets? I mean, there's a lot going on that no one really expected. But nonetheless, good week. Butters, how are you?
I'm pretty good, yeah. Obviously not too happy about the loss, but it happens.
Yeah, look, I
Yeah.
think
Tim, how are you, mate?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty good. You know, happy to make the finals again. Um, you know, it's good, and we're gonna go get that premiership we were wanting to get last season, but we get another chance at it. So yeah, keen.
Yeah. Lachlan, how are you, mate?
yeah, look, I think this week was probably a little bit surprising. Although I think when you look at the Panthers, Broncos, and Manly all losing, I think they're sort of all looking towards sort of finals. Their heads were already in finals, which maybe probably they would have liked to go on with a win. But when you look at some of the changes, obviously KCK played the second half on the wing on the weekend. You had obviously myself. I pulled myself from the bench because no one being injured for my first finals game. Didn't even want to risk it. Obviously, then with the Broncos, they just had a couple errors in the game. Manly, similarly, they just seem to not be able to get up against the Cowboys as of recent. But overall, I think Manly, they take out their third straight minor premiership still. And I think all the teams are sort of preparing, all those three main teams are preparing to go to battle for this final series. As obviously, I think they've sort of announced themselves as the three main contenders. Obviously, with the Raiders making it, they are, obviously they're still in a chance, but they're definitely not the favourites for this premiership at the moment.
I think the thing about this final series is, even though you would say Raiders aren't favourites, they do have Eli Barnes, who when fires is close to the best player in the comp. So
Mm.
they're certainly not out of it against any of the other
Oh no,
teams.
definitely not
If
saying them
Eli
out of it. I'm
Barnes
just
can
sort of more
fire.
saying that when you look at the teams that they're up against, they're definitely not the favourites. It's definitely the favourites are definitely
Oh yeah.
Broncos, Manly, and then followed by Penrith. Which obviously Penrith have taken Raiders this week, which gets me nervous because we've never been in the Raiders, but it is what it is. What it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think definitely it's going to be a good final series, that's for sure. Shall we get on to our first topic today?
Yep.
I
All
think we
right.
should.
So so obviously the Cowboys finishing sixth. They it was a pretty disappointing season going off a premiership repeat, trying to go for a repeat of last season, winning another premiership. What do we think was Cowboys' biggest issue this season?
Um. Well, they they kept a solid part of their team, but obviously they introduced a new half into the system because obviously had to let go of Caval as he went to the Broncos. Though I don't really know what went wrong. They didn't have a terrible against record. They had a half decent scoring record, but yeah, I can't pinpoint.
Look, to be honest, I actually think it's the swapping and changing of the halves. I think they really should have stuck with. To be honest, I think they really should have just stuck with Kieran. Hugh Snow in the obviously in the at the halfback role. I think he has a really good kicking game. I actually quite like what Hugh Snow was able to do for the Cowboys this season, and I think of the two, he probably played better in the halves. With that being said, I also quite like Kieran Wallace in that middle forward role that he sort of played at various points this season. And I think that worked a little better for him. I don't think this swapping and changing we had Kieran Wallace there sometimes, Hugh Snow There are other times it was beneficial for the team. I think that's the main issue I pinpoint. I don't think Kieran Wells is a halfback, to be honest.
I also think Talao Matangi was a little quiet compared to last season. I think last season he had a phenomenal, probably breakout. He was just amazing, and then this season I just don't know if it was the expectation that he's going to bring something like he was last season, or if he just wasn't good enough. You know?
I think that's something that plays into the demise of his form this season is, well, sometimes not this isn't a knock on our team. Sometimes a team's form goes down. It's definitely harder for a fullback to shine as much as they did last season when they win a premiership. Obviously losing Callum Irwin and Robbo Mobston in their forward pack gave him obviously a bit less time, which probably went into his demise as a fullback this season. And I don't know, he's got to work on his on next season. I mean, it's something that he can look back on and go, okay, I need to improve on this, and hopefully he'll do better next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think
Good
Amatangi...
news.
Oh, sorry, go on, Butters.
No, you go.
I think Amatangi is someone that sort of plays off the back of being able to work well with sort of the players around him. You know, obviously Amatangi was given a lot of space last season. I think that was off the fact of that players like Palmerston able to just push forward. Obviously, the Cowboys forward pack was a lot weaker this season. Not necessarily weak, but just the weekend. By the fact they lost Mobston. I feel like there's another player they lost, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Is it Malchus?
No, Marcus
Rohan?
hasn't been there for a while. But
Well,
I feel like there's another one. I can't pinpoint it though. But yeah, I feel like
Forwards?
yeah. Was there another forward they lost? I feel like there was.
don't
It
think
was
so.
Rohan they lost. They lost
And
they lost
Mobston.
Rohan.
And Mobston, yeah. And Irwin there.
Irwin, that's the other guy. I feel like those two guys really set a good foundation for the Cowboys last season. And I feel like they're two players that Amatangi really worked off the back of their momentum. You know, they got quick play to balls, managed to give, you know, Thomas Wallace, Caval and Moana time to sort of just get the ball out to Amatangi, and he just did his thing. This season, you know, Amatangi, I'd probably say he, you know, he didn't have a great year for a fullback, you know. For a fullback, it wasn't a great season. I think he's definitely going to look to repeat. I think the big issue for the Cowboys is they have to find out how to unlock him again.
Yeah.
Which is what that's the big thing they have to find out, I think.
The good news is for them, they do have a
Pump's evening out too.
Well, Mutters, what were you going to say?
Yeah, sorry. They do have a high draft pick, or a higher draft pick than if they were to make finals, which gives them some sort of hope. I don't know how much it will actually do, but hopefully they're able to pick up a half decent forward. And yeah.
They don't. Something that interests me is they have 3 players on free agency this season, which means that one of them's gold. So I think they're going to pick up a gold in free agency.
You would think so.
And well, it would be a concern for them if they want to get better next season. I mean, maybe Mobston comes back to the club. Who knows?
Yeah, it would be a massive grab if they could get Mobston. I think he actually was probably one of the Knights' best forwards this season. I think, you know, he pretty much just left off where he get off. I remember there was a game last season for the Cowboys. Might have been against the Raiders, and they lost the game. But I remember the spark the Mobston provided. He might have even been playing on the bench this game for whatever reason. But he came on the field after just coming off it. And I think he broke 3 tackles in the first couple of plays he broke the field. nearly scored a try. If it wasn't for a gutsy try-saving tackle from Barnes, it might have been. And then a couple plays later, he ends up scoring one anyway. He just has the ability to just break the game open. Like, I don't think any other prop forward does in the comp. Maybe only the likes of Marcus does. Similar to more Mobiston. That's probably the only player that I can think of that has the ability to just break the game open like that.
Yeah, Mobiston is that kind of player. I remember last season, Liam, we were looking at him because he was just that good, but unfortunately, obviously, we didn't get him. But it would be massive for North Queensland if they're able to get him back.
The only thing I can think with Moana that he, not Moana, sorry, Mobiston that he does need to fix up is probably a little bit more consistent in terms of the meters he makes. Obviously, we know he can break the game open, but he needs to do that consistently. If the Cowboys can somehow unlock that part of his game, he'll be easy to become the best prop forward in the comp, without a doubt.
And an underrated part of his game is his defense. He always has such a high tackle percentage. He's always up there for most tackles. He's a phenomenal defender as much as he is a tackle breaker.
Yeah, I have to agree. But I think all he needs to do
average drum
is to be able to make sure he wants to breaks the game open as much as we know he can, and not just, I guess, pick and choose his moments. Like, sometimes I do feel like you don't notice Bobson, while other games I feel like he's the only prop forward you notice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Should we move on to our our next topic of the episode?
Yeah.
How many average run meters did Mobiston get this season?
Still on it.
That's a good point. Let's actually have a quick look. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
See, it doesn't look like that much. I was gonna say I thought he's quite quiet this season. Apart from about one game where he was, I think he scored 2 tries.
How many did he have? Sorry,
650
650
off
overall.
8 appearances. Yep, run meters. It says this season.
How much is that an average of? There we go, 81. Yeah, but I think that sort of goes back to our point that we sort of talked about. He sort of is able to break the game open and be the best player in the field, but there are a lot of games this season where he just wasn't noticed, is sort of what we're saying.
Yeah, I think the Knights in general that probably pulled him down a bit, and the Knights just really weren't able to get him going for a lot of the season, which disadvantaged them by a huge margin. So it's going to be challenging. It was challenging for him this season. I reckon they should have shifted him to lock, but it's in the past now.
Yeah. He was did he play lock at one point?
I feel like he might have. Maybe I'm just making it up. I feel like he did.
No, he didn't.
Fair enough.
He played. Sadler played lock, and then I think Strange played lock, and
I think
those two.
Right. He might have played lock midway through the game, but he never started there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sounds like a good point to move on. Okay. Okay, we move on to the Broncos v Knights, which proved to be a brilliant last game for the 3 Newcastle boys. Jack O'Neill, Logan Strange, and Robbie Elms, of course, going out in a win against the Brisbane Broncos. Boys, what are our thoughts on this game?
What a way to go off against the Brisbane Broncos, who have been one of, if not the best team, in my opinion. The most consistent team on the field. That is a phenomenal effort from Newcastle boys, and it's something that they should all be really proud of. And it's a great send-off for the 3 that you mentioned just before.
For sure.
Yeah, look, I think this game, and was a very solid game for both teams. In fact, I think there were moments both teams were looking and think they played very well. Newcastle ended up slightly winning, probably due to a few errors from obviously the Brisbane Broncos. I think what was most impressive though was the fact that you could really tell in these three retirees' eyes, and I think they all played terrific games too, but they definitely wanted to at least send the Newcastle faithful out on a high note. Because although they're new to the SRL, they're an SRL city. They love the SRL down there. It was great to see that that this team just wanted to give them something. Even though it was still played at Suncorp, I'm sure every single house in Newcastle was just watching this game and loving every single second of it. Watching their, obviously their two fearless leaders, plus Robbie Elms, who has been really underrated for the Knights this season. Just give it to, go out there for one last time.
Yeah, definitely agree with you, Lachlan. Something that all the Newcastle boys should be proud of there. They were absolutely just phenomenal. Only word that can really describe it.
Yeah. The Knights were obviously very, very good, weren't they? And I think they really wanted it to win this match against the Broncos, obviously. But the Broncos, I don't know what to take out of this for the Broncos, because did they really? I don't think they really anchored anything. They didn't really take off any major players that I noticed. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know what went wrong for the Broncos.
I think it was just a case of maybe a bit of what's the word where you sort of underestimate your opponent? I can't exactly remember.
Complacency?
Complacency, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Just a bit of complacency came in their game. I think a lot of errors they were forced to. They had quite a few errors in the game. Not entirely sure what the number was, but it was quite a lot from memory. The Knights also had quite a few errors, but it sort of took more of their chances too. Obviously, there was only 8 points in it. I'm sure Jack Carl, obviously, if he still finished top 2, won't be too disappointed, considering all three of the teams that were guaranteed locked in the finals before round 9 also lost. The Panthers and the Seagulls. So I don't think it'll be too decided. It'll just be playing as normal.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say of note is we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but I did find it quite interesting that as a result of this game that Jackson Allison has been moved to the starting lineup. That's the only thing I found interesting. I wonder if there's something he's noticed where he's decided now is the time to activate Jackson Allison in the starting lineup.
I don't know. Is it maybe? Is it got something to do with? I don't know. Is it maybe defensively they want stronger edges? They've noticed that the right edge has been the left edge back row has been a bit weak defensively. I couldn't tell you.
I don't know if
I'd be really interested to hear what.
I don't know if Jackson. I don't know if Jackson is that defensive player though that you need. If that was true.
And if it was defensive, I would have been. I think that targets the right side more in defense. I would have been thinking it would have been you would have put Jackson at 12. If it was defensive they want him for. That's just my thoughts though.
I don't know. I can't think of a reason really that they'd do it. Is it maybe they just want him to go out there hard, play for its finals, get through his work, play 80 minutes, don't come off?
That's what I would be thinking. I think it's just they've bided this time off the bench, and I think that now Jack Carl has sort of pulled the trigger and just decided now's the time to pull him on. Bit of a switcheroo play. Mostly to be unexpected too. I don't think anyone really thought Jackson Allison, especially with how good he's been off the bench, would be starting in the final series.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit of a panic after you know, losing to the Newcastle team. That's the only thing I can actually really see, you know.
I'm sure Jackson, I was gonna say Jackson Nelson, but Jack Carl, I'm sure he's more of a proactive type of captain, I can tell, than a reactive. So I'm sure that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, but I just don't really see another reason, you know.
Hmm. I don't know. It's an
We move
interesting
on.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's move on. The next topic we have. So on Tuesday night we have some finals footy. Let me get it up. Is it?
Tuesday night will be
It's Manly versus
Manly
Broncos.
Yeah, Manly Broncos.
Yep. So Manly Broncos at 6:30. Both games will be at 6:30. On opposite nights. Yeah. So Manly Broncos. Who's our tips, boys, and why?
I'm gonna go Manly. They've got the experience. The Broncos are very inexperienced in final campaigns. I think their most experienced player would be Rohan, would it not?
Probably.
Oh, Jackson. No, Jackson.
Oh, Jackson. Yeah.
And I think that might also be why Jack's brought him on starting instead of, you know, just having him off the bench. Gives that experience to the forward pack, puts them off early because we all know it's a different game in the finals. Except for you, Lachlan. We all know it's a very, very different, more intense game in the finals. And I think that could also be why Phillies decided to put him on. But I'm going to go Manly here just based on the amount of experience Matty has, Dingo has, just all of their key players.
Yeah, I think something for me that's gonna be huge in this game is obviously I think that Manly forward pack, they've just got a lot of experience and they're just a phenomenal pack. I mean, we got the likes of and Brad Goodwin, Bennett, of course, Matty Harris, Lenny Prakash. There's just so much power in that pack. I think it's going to be it's going to be hard for the Broncos to stop this pack. But obviously, the Broncos pack has been very good this season. It's just whether they can step up to the finals play because some of these players haven't played finals footy before.
Most
Um,
of
yeah, I mean, has Williams played finals before?
he hasn't played for.
Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Raiders. Yep.
Yeah, he's
the
played with
Raiders.
us last season.
Rabbitohs.
And Rabbits.
Oh, Rabbitohs. I'm just off today.
1 sec.
It's too late. But tonight we got Matty Harris in as a guest, mate. How's it going, Matty?
Not too bad yourself, boys.
Yeah.
Going pretty good, mate.
Now, Matty, how have you really prepared for this Broncos team? What are the steps?
For starters, we rewatched the game last week, see where we went wrong. Feel like just a couple of our boys were just kind of in the wrong spot, so we had a lot of clunky attack. Gonna work. We've worked on that. Swapped a few boys around. Also had another look at the game we played against the Broncos earlier in the season, seeing what went right for us. Putting our having a bit of experience in the bench forward role really helps, which I actually got that from Jack. it really helps having the experience coming off or coming on at the 20th minute. So you have experience all throughout the 80, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a good point, Matt. But it is quite interesting you mentioned that you got that idea from Jack, considering he's actually moved this player that
Done
usually
the
does that
opposite.
role to the starting side. What do you make of that decision from Jack?
He's going to the second row, right?
Yes.
Honestly, I like it. Like, as much as Seamus Wilson's a gun of a player, that the experience that Jackson Allison has, especially in the second row, I know.
So you cut out there.
Him 80 minutes is always going to be better than 60. I was saying, him having 80 minutes is always going to be better than 60. Getting that experience out on that left edge, as much as Seamus is a gun of a player, Jackson's just way more experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Allison's a very good player. Seamus Wilson's only played a season or so in the SRL. He's learning his trade a bit. I don't think he'd be ready for finals yet. To start a finals game, it may seem easy, but when you walk out there, the eruption of fans are going crazy, and it's just really hard to settle the nerves for when you take that first big hit up. But once you start, I guess it's better. You get used to the game. I mean, it feels like you get in a groove. But yeah, I do rate what Manly have done. So what I've noticed, Matty, is you've swapped Milo Kerrigan and Creed around. I would have thought you would have done a bit of the opposite if you were looking for an experienced forward.
So we still had Lennox off the bench in that role. Sorry about the background noise. So yeah, we still got Lennox. I like what Milo brings, and I wanted to pair him up with Lennox. The power from Lennox. The how do I put it? I'm trying to think of the word. Yeah, like Milo, he finds his way to the try line. Whether he's actually scoring or not is a different story, but he's always there and about. Last couple of weeks, he was making a few errors, which had nothing to do with me actually putting him on the bench. Yeah, I just felt like to give Creed a starting spot. Because like Creed, we know Creed's the gun of a player as well, so he's kind of like a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big background noise is going great. Yeah, there's a freight train going past. I don't think I've made other big changes except for my Weston and Bell. I swapped their sides as well.
Yeah, you did do that. Yeah. So did you just want Bell getting a bit more of the ball? Did you notice Weston was getting the ball a lot?
It was more just wanted to see how it goes. I like Weston on either side. From experience back in season 2, I noticed Bell was way more involved on the right side. And Weston, he gets involved on both sides. So I'd rather get both wingers involved rather than just the one. Because I think Bell touched the ball maybe once, maybe twice last week.
Yeah, I don't know. Bell was very quiet.
But maybe he was just like trying to warm back up to the SRL, considering he's been out for 7-8 weeks.
And he's been playing centre in the Mines too. It's a big jump sometimes to go back to playing to go into the wing. Maybe his fitness levels just weren't there.
There's a lot more running involved in the wing rather than centre.
Yeah, 100%.
Matty, obviously the loss to the Cowboys probably not what you would have liked coming into the round. What sort of What are your thoughts on that game? Where do you think you guys went wrong in terms of losing that? Because I didn't notice any two big changes made throughout the week that would have caused that loss.
As you boys know, I have very high standards, especially on myself, and I'll step up and say the main reason for that loss was my own performance. I had, in my eyes, my worst career performance. I think I made 4 missed tackles, 3 errors, 2 penalties as well. It was just not up to my standard, not up to SRL standard for that matter. So I want to actually put the loss down to that. Which I looked in the mirror and I'll be a lot better for it. Expect me to come out firing next week, along with the rest of the boys too, because as you know, a lot of our boys, great players, but they also want to look at their captain and see him moving forward, follow the leader kind of thing. Because we work as the pack. So
Yeah.
if the leader's not working, then the rest of the comps might start to fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? So, Maddie, what do you rate on your chances to go out and beat the Broncos? Do you think he's confident?
I'm always confident, but I'm never overconfident or cocky. Broncos are a great side and have been basically the best side this season. We got one up over them earlier in the season, but once finals comes, forget about it. It's a new book. Again, confident we can win. I always have faith in my boys. But I'm expecting a tough contest. The likes of Jordan Williams, Simon Hunt having a career best season, Seamus Wilson, Jackson Allison, some of the big boys. And then you got Jolly Kelly at the back, and he's so deadly. He scored all their tries when we versed them up in the regular season as well. So it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think the Broncos overall have been very strong this season. The only thing I question about the Broncos is they have failed to beat the top three teams that have been the Panthers or the Seagulls, so they still do have to put that under their book. But I think it'll be a very close game on Tuesday night. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'll play devil's advocate here and say in season 2, when Manly went into that final series, the other top 4, were the only teams we lost to. So if you want to play devil's advocate, they might get one up, but I won't allow that to happen if it's up to me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Matt. Does anyone else have any questions for you from?
No.
No.
Well, thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for coming on, Matty.
Take care.
Thank you, Matty.
I'll see you later, Matt.
Thanks, Matty.
I think, obviously, it is quite interesting to look at the Broncos team list for this week. Obviously, Jackson Arson's been named to start for his first game. I still do find it quite interesting that he hasn't started all season. That's the only part. Even if he started like a couple games here and there, it wouldn't be as weird. But the fact that he hasn't started at all, that's the part I find strange.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really see what the reason behind it was. Maybe we could have gone Chili on to get his thoughts on it, but yeah.
Well, actually, as you speak of it, I've got Jack Carl here. Perfect timing.
Hey, what's going on?
Jack, how are we,
Hey,
lad?
Jack.
I'm pumped. I'm absolutely pumped, to be honest. Listening to Matty Harris talk about his team. Talk about our team as well. He gave us some nice compliments.
We're about to have a face-off here. Like one of those... Obviously,
Really, obviously.
Curious to hear your reasoning behind the starting of Jackson Arce, considering you haven't done it at all. Obviously, I want to point out he has not started a single game for the Broncos in Season 5. Why have you chosen to start him for the first time in the final season? It just feels a little bit odd for me.
Look, you say he hasn't started at all in Season 5. Sure, that is the case, but he is a very experienced player. He is a starting player. He is worthy of that, and look, the main reason we did it is I was sitting there and I was watching the round 3, I think, against Manly. And I was just going over what we did. We had so much ball in Manly's territory. We really should have won that game, but instead we kind of got just blown off the park by Manly's defense. I thought we needed a bit more prowess in the middle. Their pack is absolutely incredible. I felt we needed to contest with that for longer periods. So going out on a limb, taking a bit of a risk, because 3 of our bench players are going to play combined 65 minutes, with the other one being Eddie playing 40. So realistically, our starting pack is what we're going to have for most of the game, which it's a risky play, but I think it'll work out.
Yeah.
You do say that. The only thing I do worry about with this lineup is there's really, like, when you look at the 14 and 15 you have, I'll just go jog my memory on who they were. You have
Seamus and Jake Scott.
Yeah, Seamus and Jake Scott. The only thing I worry about is they're going to be up against Lennox Prakash, who is an absolute unit, and Milo Kogan, who, although he was a rookie, has proven himself to be a starter in this.
I think he's been really good.
Do you worry about your prop forward pack could be dominated during that period, especially considering Seamus Wilson is usually edge back rower?
No, I'm not worried about that at all. Seamus has made 100% tackle efficiency up until very recently. I was listening to you guys talk about that it may have been a defensive decision. It's absolutely not, because Seamus is well more than capable of it, and he has that iconic like push forward. So I reckon he'll be fine there. We got Simon Hunt still in the middle, and Blair Curtin, who are both very capable of making tackles as well, and pushing their way forward. So I'm not too worried about that. It'll be an interesting period. That'll definitely be where I'm the most nervous. But hopefully we can get off to a fly, because I don't remember who Manly is starting. Knowing them, it'll probably still be someone.
And Craig. It's Brad
and
Quaid.
Okay, I think we definitely lose on Brad Goodwin, but I think overall, I think we can get off to a good start. And then I think that 20 minutes when Seamus and Jake come on will be the most nerve-wracking time.
Another thing
I think the forward pack, it looks to cancel out in most positions. So I mean, you got Goodwin against Williams. Goodwin's, it's very close, but probably Goodwin. I think Curtin edges out Ralph by a whisk, probably by a bit. But Creed definitely gets beat by Monkey on this season's form. But Creed's got past credibility. Obviously, they got Bennett against Allison, almost cancels out. Or I don't know. It's very close when they both play best. Guys against Miller, it's very close. These are all very close. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like, all these guys have had brilliant seasons.
Yeah, something I also do worry about the Broncos is when you look at the size of a lot of their forwards, they're a lot smaller. Then obviously this is an issue that Jack Carr can't really fix unless he wants to put either Monkey or Williams on the bench. He'll probably, I believe, their 2 biggest forwards. But when you look at their bench players, like Jackson Allison, he's probably one of the smaller forwards. He's going to up against Hayden Miller, who, to his credit, actually is another pretty small point. But then you're going to have guys up against Bennett, Lennox Prakash up against, Seamus Wilson, who's a relatively smaller forward, and Jake Scott. That's going to be, I know I've already mentioned it, but I think it's going to be very troubling there. And then Milo Carrigan also is an absolute unit. To go over Matt Harris up against Simon Hunt, although Simon Hunt's had a better season this year than Matt Harris, when you compare their sizes, Matt Harris is like 10 times. He could eat Simon Hunt for breakfast compared size-wise. The size that'll worry you that your forward pack's a little bit smaller than, or a lot smaller than the Manly forward pack, because that's sort of the main issue I see when comparing them.
No, not at all. I mean, I think our forward pack is probably the smallest in the comp, and it really hasn't troubled us for most of the season. I think I'll go back to that game in round 3 because that's really where a lot of my planning has come around. I think that the issue in that game was we had Sam Herbert at halfback, and our forward pack wasn't pushing the extra few meters when we were close to the line. Which I don't know. You can attribute that to size. I don't know. That's up to you. But I think it was just because we balanced our minutes out very well, whereas we've kind of just gone all in with the big guns in this game. And look, if we lose, I mean, Manly are a very good side, but we still got another chance. So fingers crossed we win, but if not, we can always reevaluate.
Now, Jack, you're saying you're basing a lot of your game plan on what happened in round 3, and obviously you would do that because it was the one time that you guys did face each other. But are you a little worried that you're preparing for a Manly side that have a slightly worse start to the season?
Who did they verse in round 2? Warriors, right?
Yeah, there's the Warriors in round 2.
Yeah, Warriors. They started pretty slow. They did almost lose to the Warriors.
In round 1, they lost to Penrith, who also had a very slow start, didn't they?
I think that's a good point. I think also you got to look at Corey Bell, who's come in. He's going to be an absolute weapon out on that edge. So he's definitely going to give me a few nightmares, I think. But no, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I'm basing it off that because it's pretty much all I've got to go off. We've run a few sims as well, but I think that's probably the best metric to go off. So yeah, no, not too worried about that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Fair enough.
I think, both sides have changed quite a bit since that round 3 performance. I do find it a little bit odd that you're using so much of your game plan around that match, which I mean, I see why, but it was quite a while ago. I do think it'll be interesting to see how both teams sort of perform, obviously with a few changes in the forward pack, although not too many, just the one change for each team. Obviously Dingo versus Joey is a very big battle. Obviously 2 players in career best form. Obviously I think whoever wins that battle between Joey and Chaz could go a long way to winning this game. How are you going to make sure that Joey sort of wins that battle against Chaz Dingo? How are you going to keep Chaz Dingo quiet and make sure Joey gets the meters he needs to?
I don't think it's about keeping Dingo quiet. There's no keeping Dingo quiet. He'll play a great game every single time, yeah. I think it's more about giving Joey early ball, just letting Joey do his thing. And so long as Joey plays well, I think we'll be in a good position. Putting it all on Joey. Joey the carry.
Fair enough. I mean,
Dingo is an
I think he
absolute
scored
gun.
10 tries in 4 games or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
It's
I
an
don't think
absolute
that's a
weapon.
bad metric at all, to be fully honest. Actually, it might have been 10 tries in 3 games, 11 tries in 4.
It was 10 tries in 3, yeah.
If you count last week, it was 11 tries in 4 games, which is just a little bit ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, I think that's fair enough. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm done with mine.
I think I'm done with mine.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jack Carr, once again for joining us. Good luck this week, and we assure you boys will be preparing very nicely, trying to overcome that Knights loss very quickly, so you can take down one of the big dogs of the competition.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I think we've spent long enough on the Broncos Manly game. Should we move on to the next game?
Yes.
The Raiders versus
So the next
Penrith.
game we have got is on Wednesday night. It's Penrith versus the Raiders. As Lachlan touched on earlier, Penrith have never beat the Raiders. Do we think this is going to change come Wednesday night?
I think it will. I think that 4th place team, whoever it went to, I think would have had a hard time against Penrith. The past couple of weeks, well, not past couple, like since the halfway point in the season, Penrith have been almost unstoppable. They've been absolutely amazing. And I don't think, Lachlan, you'll go out without a bang. Obviously handing the captaincy role over to Morrison next season. But yeah, I don't see the Canberra winning this one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be quite interesting this week.
Fair
Because I
enough.
think, obviously, the Raiders will never beat them. In fact, the last week was actually our best performance against the Raiders. Our first time we've been 1 to 12 of them. They're our bogey team. We just, for whatever reason, cannot beat this Raiders team, no matter what. Since season 2, they've smashed us before, breaking our hearts before final. And was pushing out the finals. They've smashed us multiple times in trials and regular season. We just cannot beat the Raiders. I'm hoping this week is different, but with the likes of Tim James, Luke Thompson's always great. Obviously, Eli Barnes, no stopping him. Marshall Edwards has been in amazing form recently. I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. I think it's going to be quite tough for us. I think we'll win. Obviously, because I'm the captain, it'd be pretty bad if I wasn't confident. But it'll be a tough match, and I'm expecting a tough, pretty performance from us. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, Lachlan, what's the game plan here?
Do you want to get the Raiders VC to us? Speak on the Raiders, the vice captain.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be we've never. Oh shit! Sorry. Panthers. They've never beaten us before, and I really hope that can never change. Actually, next week. So we're their bogey side. They can't beat us. They never seem to really put points on us, except for the other night. But it's gonna be a hard game considering it is finals and it's against Panthers who are. Where'd you guys finish? Second, third, somewhere in the top. So you guys finished top, and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard considering the you guys I'm gonna say the only reason I think we won was because you brought Jacob Morrison into fullback. And you didn't leave KCK there, but it's going to be a tough game, to be honest. And I still see us winning, but not by a high margin, is what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be a really tough game, considering it is finals and, everyone sort of turns up during finals, so, yeah.
The big difference I sort of see between our sides, Tim, is I sort of think that, unbiased, I do think the Penrith forward pack is a lot better than the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've quite liked how I've managed to play our forward pack over the past month, minus last week, which I purely based the forward pack around making sure I didn't get injured, because there's no way in hell I'm getting injured for the first finals injured, not playing it off the bench. No thank you.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I do think that is the area where we have to dominate. Obviously, that knows how good Samuel and Ben Arnold can be. They're probably the two best forwards for the Raiders. But I think in order for Penrith to win, we have to make sure we get up in their faces early. Make sure they can't do their job.
Yeah, you have definitely got the very experienced forward pack in this game, to be honest. We've got Samuel Lillard, who's been around since season 2, and he's never really played finals before except for last season and season 2. And then we got Ben Arnold and all those people who only really just started playing finals footy. So it's going to be a bit of an inexperienced forward pack during this time, but I just really hope they really get up there and turn up, because it's going to be a tough matchup in the middle. During the forwards, going up against Penrith, who have the best, apparently the best forward pack in the SRL. So I just want to see how that goes and see how we roll.
Stretch. Put to say, I still think Manly's best forward pack, but anyways.
Yeah, Manly probably do. I'm just I think Penrith do have the best forward pack, in my opinion, but
I'll take
you
that
can
one.
change.
Thank you.
Debatable.
Thanks, bud. I'll take that one.
Yeah. That's just my 2 cents.
Fair. So have we all given our tips on this game?
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Alright. I haven't given my tip. Alright. I think Pembroke will win by about like 6. I think Eli Barnes will keep it close. I have a feeling Eli Barnes and Luke Thompson will keep this game close. But yeah, let's move on to the next topic. So the next topic is, where do we think each player, how do we think each team is going to do next season? With obviously some signings, and what positions do we think each team needs
Yeah.
based on their re-signings?
Well, honestly, I haven't had a giant look at some of them, but obviously, you have
Let's go.
Para keeping
Let's go.
most of their squad, it looks like, which I am a little surprised about, but obviously they did do pretty well against some of the high-end teams. I think another one is the Canberra Raiders, obviously keeping a lot of their team, and the Warriors, I think, have been really poor once again and re-signed. What's that? 13 out of their
15.
13 out of their 7, which I think is absolutely just a terrible decision. Yeah, I think that's really poor. But other than that, good space for a bit of movement, obviously. And that's what we like to see during the off-season and the re-signing periods. So it'll be good fun to watch how it all unfolds next week.
Yeah. I think a lot of signings will come through early tomorrow morning. So that should be really good. I always get excited waking up. I probably won't wake up this late, but like I always get excited looking at when all the free agents sign, and I'm just like, oh Jesus, look at all of this chaos, and I just love it.
Yeah, toys just go with
Good to see the chaos.
guilty pleasure,
Yep.
I didn't think it opened until Sunday. Oh, that's on me.
That opens in 26 minutes.
Oof. Gotta watch out for it then.
We actually have some breaking news here coming out of Manly this just this evening. They're set to offer, obviously at the crack of dawn when the window officially opens. They're set to offer Isaac Edwards from Newcastle a deal to obviously go to Manly for season 6. What are our thoughts on this, boys?
Jeez, that's a big deal. Can he get back into? I'll be interested to see if Matty Harris can turn him into. Obviously, has turned a fair few of the halves that have came over into good players.
The more
Obviously,
sorry to cut you off there, Lim. The more interesting thing I find is Dingle and KCK both for prominent fullbacks. I was assuming KCK was going fullback, Dingle was going 5'8", Carlo was halfback. But Isaac Edwards is coming over. Does that change things up? Do we see KCK maybe go to the wing?
I don't think ever. I don't think ever it's a good decision to move. Just for me, I don't think it's ever been on the horizons in my mind that Manly would play Dingo in the halves. Maybe at 7, but I don't think Dingo's that good of a 5'8". He's probably an above average 5'8", but he's way
Oh,
better at fullback. Way, like, it's not even close.
yeah.
Like, Dingo has been so good at fullback, I just wouldn't move him away from there. I can't see a way why they do that. I think they're 110% going to move him, KC Caleb wing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Liam. I do think he's still probably one of the best 5'8" in the game when he does
Oh,
play.
I
I
don't
think
know
he
about
is.
that one.
I think he is, but
No, I
I do
don't
agree.
know.
I do agree that he is much better fullback, than he is a 5'8". I think, yeah, I think it was a little bit of a poor signing. Sorry, Matty. Harry's still in here. He's gonna murder me, but yeah, I think it was a little bit of a a little bit of a poor decision there. I think
Why do you think
Isaac.
this, Butters?
I think Isaac's far past his prime. He's never been a consistent player, and that's a little bit on what Manly prides themselves on, their consistency. I don't think he really fits into the team that they had coming across. Yeah, I just think it was.
Sometimes you just have to take a chance. I mean, they took a chance on Will Kay and look what happened.
But the difference there is Will Kay was a rookie coming off of a very poor Cowboys side, and Kay had
You see the aligns? It aligns. The Knights weren't that good.
no, but he was Edwards was still. How do I? He played 2 seasons at how many seasons at Souths?
He was
He
there for
played
3, right?
1, I think. Oh no, 3. Well, he's played 3. He played 1, 2, and 3, I think.
And how many times did Souths make the grand final there?
Twice.
And how many of those years would you say that Isaac Edwards was the person that that got you to the finals?
Yeah, look, I think
Once.
Isaac. Honestly, I actually don't think it's that bad of a signing from Matty Harris. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think if they get him, I think it is a good signing to. I think he's the type of player that Matt Harris could get the best out of. We've seen what he can do for the
That's
Souths.
what I'm saying.
The question is going to be, can he get that best out of him? Because we know that he hasn't had the best season at Newcastle. He didn't have the greatest season at Penrith. He didn't have the greatest season beforehand. Before season it was the season where he had a decent season at Souths. He hasn't been at his best form since he's been at Souths, in my opinion at least.
And the thing is, I don't think he's had a great season at Souths. Oh, sorry, he didn't have a great second half to the season after Origin in that Souths team. He had probably.
I don't know. He was pretty good in the finals game that got us into the grand final.
I don't even think
He played
postseason
pretty
he was
well
that
against the Cowboys.
I don't think he was
He
that great.
played pretty well against the Cowboys and got us into a grand final. And in a game, no, I know he didn't win it, but the grand final. But like in the prelim final, Isaac Edwards was the reason we got into that grand final.
I kind of disagree with that. But
then who was?
I think Ash Crutcher was a bigger help yourself, Liam.
I don't think Ash Crutcher. No.
It's just my opinion. I don't think Isaac Edwards is that kind of player that they should have picked up, because it's just going to mess with the spine, and it's not. I just don't think it was the right decision.
Then who else did they sign at 5'8"? Or
I don't think they signed anyone at 5'8". I would
Hey,
have.
remember they're losing Will Kay.
Huh?
Remember, Will Kay's going to the Storm. They need
Yeah.
to pick up somebody.
No, they don't. They're picking up KCK. So KCK goes to fullback, Chestingo 5'8". I would be more than happy
Yeah.
with that. I would be
Just
more.
Dingo 5'8". I don't like that. I don't know.
I don't know why you're unhappy with Dingo at 5'8". He I don't see what your problem with him at 5'8" is. Like, I'm really
I
confused.
don't think he's that good of a 5'8". Like, really, he's a much better fullback.
Yeah, but just
And
because
Chaz
he's
could even agree with it. Like Dingo,
okay.
Chaz Dingo has said that he is nowhere near as he doesn't rate himself at 5'8".
Yeah, obviously he's predominantly a fullback, but when you've already signed, well, basically signed KCK, I would be playing KCK at fullback. I think KCK is sorry, the difference in gameplay from KCK as a fullback and KCK as a winger is a lot different than having Dingo as a fullback compared to Dingo as a 5'8".
I think what we need to do is, Matt, are you still there?
Yeah, bro.
What was? Let's hear from Matty. What's your justification behind the Isaac Edwards signing?
Origin. Lewis and Edwards combination in Origin was too good to pass up. Isaac actually messaged me first, asking about the possibility. This is right around the time that I knew Kay was going. It was just like, let's make it happen, because the pure dominance, and I hate to say that being a New South the pure dominance from those two in the halves was just crazy. The amount of 40-20s they kicked per game, the meters. I want to see that in Manly colours.
Now, are you sure you can get?
Yeah,
the best?
they were very good in Origin.
If you're asking me if I can get the best out of him, I think my track record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
The only failed half I had, which I hate to say it, was pulling a fullback into half, and that was Dingo. But I feel like that was more. We had a bit of a clunky season anyway. And I will say this, and I said this to KCK, is he didn't fit the fullback mould for Manly. He's good in Penrith, but for us, he was just too quiet. He had one or two good games, and one of those was a trial.
to be fair, in that trial, I'm pretty sure 4 of those tries came on crumb kicks from Chaz Dingo, so...
Yeah, it did, actually. I will say, Dingo in the halves isn't out of the question, but it's more or less, let's say the lineup isn't working for a change, I would put him in there and put KCK at the back. That's the beauty of having two established fullbacks and pace of the game for that matter. Is we got the options. If we need to, we can move Jimmy back to the bench and put Lewis in Africa. He's proven himself there as well. And having the extra half really opens up a lot of interesting lineups, and I test them all when I get the free time to do it.
I mean, it's a fair call to get Isaac Edwards. I
Sure,
agree
bro.
with him. I think his combination with Kyle Lewis is probably... Like, that was insane, that Origin series. Like, Isaac Edwards, the amount of 40-20s between them two they kicked. I think the other one, actually, I think that was the series where Cherry Evans kicked a 40-20 from... So I'm pretty sure there was 6 40-20s kicked in that entire series. Like, it was crazy, that series. You know, I think... Isaac Edwards is the type of player that will play well with the other teams that will play well. And to be fair, you know, Rabbitohs already could do Rabbitohs in season 3, who made the grand final. Season 4, Penrith, we weren't that hot that season. We were not. great. I mean, I know we came one game off the grand finals for the final spot for this fifth, but we weren't great at all that season. And then the Knights, he was sort of just thrown into it, I guess. Like thrown into the deep end with that team, and again, didn't really work out for him. So I actually think it's going to be a great time for me. I'm really looking forward to see how Edwards goes.
I'll add one with Edwards. He's too good of a player to be on the bench, and he's been unfortunate enough to be thrown on the bench for the majority of his career. In saying that, though, he did win a game for the Knights off the bench, that field goal against the Raiders. But part of when I signed Edwards, I made a promise to him, and I'm a man of my word. I promised him I wouldn't bench him. He will always be taking our starting side.
Yeah, I think Isaac's experienced the bench so much that it's
Probably
kind
too
of
much,
sad.
to be honest. I do agree. He's definitely better than a bench player. It's just he's sort of always become.
It just
I feel
he's
like
always
even
a
at Penrith,
man.
like as much as I didn't really want him at the time, he's sort of become. I think at 3 clubs now he's become the scapegoat, probably unfairly to be fair. So
Yeah, he's been scrutinised a few times.
Oh, looking at other clubs, like we discussed before, a lot of clubs did re-sign most of their players. The teams that I'm looking at, and I'm a little surprised, was Jack's Broncos. I'm not really surprised about the Knights, and the Penrith Panthers. That's the side that I'm really confused. Why they didn't re-sign a couple players.
I mean, some of the players that you're probably confused about that they didn't re-sign probably just didn't want to re-sign. It's just probably as simple as that.
Oh, I know one for sure didn't really have a place to sign, and they just chose not to re-sign him, and I'm really confused about that one.
Yeah, that one was really confusing. I know who you're talking about. Obviously,
and also
I can't say what I think of it
Yeah.
because it would reveal who it is.
And he was such a key piece to them making the final squad. I'm really confused about that one.
It was really confusing. I do agree.
Broncos, I'm not too worried about. Jack's always got a plan for his side. Warriors, I am always worried about. I'm just always worried.
Seriously, I'm always worried. Oh my god.
Because they re-signed most of their forward pack, and their forward pack was probably what was laying them down, and they let go some of their better outside backs, like Sean Walker and Neil. Yep.
I want a statement on something about the Warriors game. Could you tell me? Snicko Bro wants to know why you were quiet after the game on after he smashed you.
Because I was on retreat. You see, there's not great Wi-Fi on a mountain. I haven't been actually really online for the past week or two. But
you haven't been chatting much. Snicko doesn't notice that.
Snicko, there's only really one thing to really know, and that's the scoreboard. So how'd that end up working for you?
I forget the spoon.
Yeah, they really need to sign a good forward over the off season, and hopefully they can pick up some good backs as well. They've got the best.
They got a gold slot.
Well, they're Chance Bunce, Nanai, Sparna one.
Barner, I don't think, is one.
So they've got one spare.
I think they've got a gold slot. I think they have
Yeah.
one spare.
So hopefully they are picking up a gold forward. That would be my recommendation. I know they don't really care,
Obviously,
but
you got Calciaco available.
yeah.
You've also got Mobiston, who we talked about.
Mobiston would be a massive pickup for them. Their defense was really lacking, and he would bring a lot. Yeah. The Broncos, I'm gonna let Jack cook. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to rebuild. He knows how to sign good players. Raiders, it's looking like they're probably going to need a half. Just looking at the team, I don't think Mataus has resigned. No, he hasn't. So they're possibly going to need a half unless they decide, can Rossini play? Technically.
We've got some plans.
Yeah, I bet you guys do, but I'm assuming you will pick up a half during the signing.
We'll try. We'll try our hardest.
It doesn't give me much.
We'll try our hardest to get one. If we can't get one, I might as well, because I can play half. I might as well move there then.
And then play Rossini.
You play Rossini hooker. Bloody, that's the plan, I guess.
Manly. Once again, like the Broncos, I'm just let Matty cook. He knows what he's doing. Even though I disagree with the Edward signing, I think he'll make up a good team. Melbourne Storm, I am very looking to see what they're going to do. New team is always hard to build off of, but if anyone's going to do it, it will be Will Kay. Newcastle, they need an entire forward pack. Yeah, they just need. Oh no, they don't actually. They need an entire backline, from what it's looking like. So
Newcastle need everything. It seems like.
I think they're going to need a big forward to fill the place of Logan Strange, both as a mentor and in game.
And Mobiston, of course.
Oh, and Mobiston. Why did I forget about Mobiston? Yeah, you're 100% correct. North Queensland looks like they just need to pick up a couple, maybe bench players. So they'll be happening
And
during
they've
the
got
draft.
a gold slot. Don't forget about that. They've got a gold slot.
They do after getting rid of Kalsaku. I would be looking at putting that maybe into the backs. They've got already two really solid gold forwards. Maybe bring that into the backs.
Hang on, I'm pretty sure they have two gold slots. If I'm not
No, they've
mistaken.
got Johnston.
Johnson and who's the other gold?
Lord.
I'm pretty sure Lord's not a gold, is he? I could be
I'm
looking
pretty sure
silly, but
he is. Oh, he's not.
Armatang is the other gold.
Armatang.
I thought they would be silly not to have three golds. They usually always build that up.
Yeah.
So Armatang is the other gold, so then they'd have one gold left. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe put that into the forward then. Eels,
So,
Eels is a weird one. I think they should have let go a couple more people. Obviously, they didn't have a terrible season, but they probably needed to let go a couple more people to set themselves up for finals. For them, I would be looking at that back line. You know, they're missing Brody Kennedy, Blake Harris, and looks like Levi Raymond is going to leave. And that is worrying for the Eels because those Levi Raymond and Kennedy were the two best players. And yeah, if you're losing Kennedy, you've got to either get someone equally as good, which is almost impossible to find, or go into a massive rebuild, in my opinion.
Who are they going to get at fullback? Like, I
That
honestly
is-
couldn't tell you. Let's look at the free agency market.
You
Is
could
it
see
going to be
Mark
Corey
Iron.
Bell?
Corey Bell, Mark Iron.
I don't know. No,
He's not he's not good. He's not a great fullback. I will say that. You could also see. Could you see a Borden Thompson move to fullback? Can he do that?
No, I don't think. I think Broughton Thompson could do that, but is Parramatta the most attractive place for Broughton Thompson? I don't know if that's the place where Broughton Thompson would go.
Well, I will say Borden Thompson would be a massive pickup, and I think he could play decently at fullback. He has a 80 step,
100% he could.
80 step, 99.
Could, bro.
Liam, why aren't we picking him up? 99 speed,
Because
80 step.
he didn't want to come. I'm sorry.
And then obviously the Panthers in major rebuild mode, which is very worrying. Looks like they need their backline completely reconstructed. Or and a bit of their key forwards missing as well. You know, Malchus, Liam, Lachlan Martin, both leaving, and then South Sydney. We know what we need.
We know what we're doing, bro. Me and Butters are just like,
Yeah.
we know what we're doing.
We know.
You guys don't
We
know.
know.
We know.
We know. Yeah.
Oops.
That's it for
What
the.
We are approaching the signing window though. It seems to appear to be 2 minutes away until the signing window opens.
Oh shit!
Lachlan, are you gonna start like Lachlan? You should just have like all the things. Imagine Lachlan has all the things ready and he's just gonna post them all at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah.
Does that wrap up the episode, boys?
Yes.
Okay, I can agree. I think I'm getting a little tired. Thank you all for watching tonight's episode of SRL 360. Watch the SRL this week on Tuesday and Wednesday night, and we will